How am I supposed to know I'm that kid's father?
Next Wednesday.
You came here to accuse me of sleeping around?
I don't want no problem, bruh.
Girl, it's about to go down.
Well, folks, I feel like any time, and I mean any time, I call out Zach or Fatima for doing something, it's always met with disdain. If it's from people who are fans of these characters and they are lashing out towards a character they don't like, whether it be Fatima towards Hayden, Fatima towards Karen, or Zach towards Hayden, Zach towards Karen. You know how I am. I don't care if I love a character. If I feel the character did something extremely out of pocket, then I'll call them out for it. For example, you all know me. Love me some Jasmine Borders, or whatever her last name is, or her maiden name, since the divorce from Gary was finalized in late season 2, sometime in season 3, whatever. But I remember the scene before she got thrown off of the parking garage by Gary. I said, yeah, it sucks. I don't condone, like, men hitting women or women hitting men. Just keep your hands to yourself, people. But I said that in that regard, Gary backhanded Jasmine. But to me, that was self-defense. Just like when Hayden hit Fatima, in his car at the end of season, was it 3 or 4? I think it was 3. When Fatima just literally opened Hayden's door and just sat in his passenger seat. And then literally she asked, like, look, I need you to back off me and my man. And he said, no, I'm just getting started. So she took out the brass knuckles and literally wailed on him like half a dozen times before he finally slapped her back. And then she got Madam's goons to beat him up. And I said, yeah, I don't agree with Hayden and what he does to Zach and Fatima, but what he did in that moment with one slap was self-defense, because she literally cracked him upside the face like half a dozen times. And then when it comes to the Jasmine situation, she was wailing on Gary with a baseball bat before he grabbed the other end of the bat and then backhanded her. Again, that was self-defense. So when it comes to the situation with Zach and him barging into the salon and causing a scene by just talking smack and then, yelling out for Karen to come out the back, I just felt like, nah, man, that wasn't the way to do it. And but then again, I remember when I was talking with DeVal about this, in reference to Fatima just, barging into Karen's apartment. He was like, well, yeah, a lot of these fans see themselves in the character. It's like, yeah, they're rooting for Fatima because it's like, yeah, all the times that Karen would come over to Zach and Fatima's house unannounced. Yeah, so I don't feel bad for when Fatima just walks into Karen's apartment without knocking or anything. But in real life, those same people cheering for Fatima or cheering for Zach, they wouldn't do the same thing because, the laws and whatnot. So for me, it's just that there's always that double standard. And I made this example in a post earlier tonight where I said, think of it this way. Let's just come up with an imaginary scenario just to kind of flip the script. Let's say Fatima, she goes to law school, she passes the bar, she gets her degree and whatnot. And then there's like a graduation party at her and Zach's house, family, friends are there. It's a great party. Everybody's having fun. But in the midst of this party, Karen all of a sudden just burst in there demanding to talk with Zach, and she wants more child support. Now, in this imaginary scenario, let's just say Karen's baby is actually Zach's kid, and she just comes in there demanding more child support. On Fatima's day, she decides to ruin it with something that could have been discussed in a private conversation, either over the phone or on another day entirely. Fans would be wanting her head on a stick. This heifer Fatima needs to call Madam, because Madam would definitely be there if it was Fatima's graduation party. Madam would. It's like, yeah, Madam ought to take care of her. Just put a bullet in, because this is some bull crap. Karen ought to know better. See what I mean? these same fans who are telling me like, Zach isn't wrong. Jeremy, if this isn't the right time for him to talk with her about the DNA test, when is the right time? The right time would have been 3+ months ago, during or before the time skip. Because the thing about Zach was he never demanded a DNA test. Never. Like, for example, when Karen was trying to bait him into opening that envelope, which had a blank sheet of paper in it, Zach should have been like, you know what, Karen, I'm not going to open up that paper, because guess what? Even regardless of what the DNA test results say, you don't have my DNA sample. So what we're going to do is we're going to calm down. Me and Fatima are going to go home. And then at some point very soon, me and you are going to schedule a DNA test where I'm going to come with you, supply my sample, and when the results come back, me and you are going to get them together. And that could have been it, because I don't know why in the world Zach hasn't, gotten this test done. Because yeah, I've been hard on Fatima sometimes, where it's like, you say you trust Zach to do something, but then when he goes off to do something by himself, you're always there to make sure he did it right. But more often than not, Zach doesn't go through with it. Like, what was her name? I forgot. The senator's wife. He went to the hotel to, figure out what needed to be done. Well, even if it didn't mean sleeping with her, so she wouldn't talk to the feds about him. But he said, you know what? I can't do this. Call whoever you're going to call, the FCC or whoever, but I can't do this. But then Fatima showed up and then handled it. And then there are other examples of this as well. But yeah, it's like, even though I want Fatima to trust Zach to do something, typically Zach never does it. More often than not, he just kind of ignores a problem like it's going to go away. For example, like the letter reading thing, he was just fussing and whatnot, and he wanted to leave, but Fatima made sure before they left that some ground rules would be laid out, like, hey, we're not going to call each other the B word, and you need to stop coming up to the house unannounced. Zach said none of that. He was in his feelings because, and rightfully so, Karen's letters were just trashing him as a person, but at the same time, he should have used that opportunity to, air out all of Karen's misdeeds since Miss Lisa's been absent from the picture. But Fatima always shows up and is on business. Now, again, I don't always agree with her approach, but at the same time, the results speak for themselves. She gets shit done. Sometimes she's a bit reckless. I mean, if you go back to like season 6, how many times did Fatima just want to bust in there to get Michael? But Zach was like, hold on, I don't think that's the right way to do it. Now all of a sudden, Zach is back to his rash. I want to break into a hotel room to attack Aaron because he's having sex with my girl, that kind of thing. It's like, bro, this is just the wrong approach. And you could argue that Karen deserves all the smoke, but even though a lot of fans don't care, it's like, you know what, Zach, make her take that test. This just isn't the right time. And I think the Zach who we saw from the last season, who's been through so much and has gone through some growth, you would think he would know better than to do what he did at the end of this week's episode, but at the same time, what's going to go down at the beginning of next week. Now, Karen, acting all surprised, like, you accusing me of sleeping around? I mean, well, you slept with 2 men in a short amount of time, so a third person isn't out of the realm of possibility, Karen. Well, yeah, let me know what you think. Do you think Karen deserves all the smoke, or do you think that Zach should have just used a little more, better discernment? Because even Fatima literally said, hey, this is the grand opening. Do you think this is the day of all days to try to ask for that DNA test? What's one more day? Dang. Okay, I'm done. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.